They say don't judge a book by its cover. But they also say you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So which is it? Should I overlook what I see or take it as a sign? Hello, I'm happy you're here. I'm Noussi. Do you ever feel it's wise to do one thing but also wise to do its opposite? I do. Welcome to Wise Discrepancies, where we examine contradictory sayings that are wise and think about when each one works best. Because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to be as wise as we can. And sometimes wisdom doesn't come from choosing one truth, but from learning how to hold two or a few. Don't judge a book by its cover reminds us to look deeper. The surface might mislead us. What seems plain and boring could be rich and amazing. What seems charming and gorgeous could be empty, as we know. It's a call to curiosity, to take our time, to resist the snap judgment and give people, places, and possibilities, opportunities, a chance to surprise us. It's wise in a world like ours that's full of packaging and performance, when superficiality reigns over what actually matters. But then there's this: you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And it's also true, of course. We do size each other up quickly in dating, in job interviews, and in media of any sort. This saying reminds us that presentation matters, and it does. That our style, our posture, our words, they speak before we do a lot of the time. They have influence. So it's wise when we're stepping into the unknown, when we're representing ourselves, and when we don't yet have trust to lean on. So what's the wise move, though? To look beyond appearances or respect the importance of appearances? Perhaps a good question to ask is, what's most important here? Someone might be qualified, but disheveled and distracted. First impressions matter might say they're not professional. But don't judge a book by its cover might ask, what else is going on here? Maybe they're brilliant but under pressure. Maybe they've never been given the chance to practice showing up. Or think about the moment we meet someone new, especially on a date. Sometimes we're pulled in right away, but sometimes, even without immediate sparks, what unfolds slowly ends up being the deeper connection. So what's true is the first impression isn't always the true one. And it turns out dating experts I've listened to all say that the initial chemistry is not any guarantee that there will be compatibility. And compatibility is deeper and tells us that the relationship actually has potential to work well. And while initial chemistry or sparks doesn't necessarily lead to compatibility, compatibility can and often leads to chemistry. Maybe this is also true of friendships and other relationships. For more on compatibility versus chemistry, by the way, I would check out dating coach Matthew Hussey's videos. I think he breaks it down really well. So how do we hold both? Because they're both true. Maybe we can take the first impression and hold it lightly. We can show up with care and respect, knowing we might not get a second chance. But we can also stay open and curious, knowing our immediate impressions aren't always right. Of course, our bodies are meant to signal when a situation is unsafe, but we're only talking here of situations that have no such risk, which are a lot of situations, if you ask me. There's a saying in Japanese, ichigo, ichie, one time, one meeting. It reminds us that every encounter is unrepeatable, so be present, be intentional. That's what a first impression can be, not just performance, but presence. And there's a Sufi proverb that says, you may think the thorn is harsh, but wait until the rose blooms. Not everything reveals its truth right away. So maybe it's not either or, Maybe the wisdom is in the balance. Make the best impression you can, and still don't be too quick to judge. I should show up well and stay curious, and it seems that wise sayings always end up pointing toward having humility. So what about you? Do you mostly trust what you see first, or stay open to what unfolds? If this helped you pause, reflect, or breathe a little deeper, subscribe to Wise Discrepancies, because we're all trying to be as wise as we can, right? And sometimes wisdom doesn't come from finding one truth, but from learning how to hold two or a few. If there's a pair of contradictory sayings you'd like me to explore in a future episode, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what wisdom you're wrestling with. Thanks for listening. Until next time.